So the Israelites have made it to the land. They have conquered many different groups of people, and they have begun to take possession of the land. And right now we are looking at the inheritance and which tribe receives which portion of land. So far we have looked at the eastern side of the Jordan River, as well as on the western side, the tribe of Judah and the two sub-tribes of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh. The book of Joshua 18:1. And the whole congregation of the Israelites assembled at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there, and the land was subdued before them. 18:2. And there remained among the Israelites 7 tribes who had not yet divided their inheritance. So the Israelites have secured the area, and they have now set up the tabernacle. Perhaps this is for worshiping the Lord God, or it is to get information about where to go next when it comes to the inheritance of the land. We have 7 tribes to go now. The book of Joshua 18:3. Joshua asked the Israelites, "How long will you be slack to go in and possess the land which the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you?" This is an incredibly interesting verse. We have the Israelites. It almost sounds as if they're just standing around, hanging around, being idle, not really knowing where to go, not really doing anything productive. They are waiting for a handout to ascertain which land to take possession of. Previously, we saw the tribe of Manasseh, and they were real go-getters. They went and attacked the enemy, and they took possession of the land. They were the real go-getters, and they were rewarded for doing that. This is similar to what we see today with passive Christianity. Everyone's always waiting for a sign. Do I do this? Do I do that? And then they don't end up doing anything. And that's probably not God's intent. He would rather you do something and then he could lead the path during that direction. I could be wrong on this, but it seems like that type of idea that the Israelites here, they're not doing anything. So because nobody is rolling for initiative, something else is going to happen. The book of Joshua 18:4. Provide 3 men from each tribe, and I will send them to go through the land and write a description of it according to their tribal inheritance. Then they shall return to me. 18:5. And they shall divide it into 7 parts. Judah shall remain in its territory on the south, and the house of Joseph shall remain in its territory on the north. So the Gibeonites, the Reubenites, they asked for land and they received it. The Manassites, they took possession of land and they were able to retain it. The tribe of Judah, we had Caleb being promised a particular parcel of land, and that was a sub-portion of the land that Judah would receive. So that was all figured out, and that was all clear and easy to do. But now we have the remaining land, the remaining territory, and they need to know what it looks like before they can divide it up and take possession of it. The Israelites have been given the opportunity. If they wanted to, they could have been like, hey, we'd like this territory here. Can we have it? But now that time is over, and it is going to be divided up. And we'll see how this process goes shortly. The book of Joshua 18:6. You shall describe the land in 7 divisions, and bring the description here to me, that I may cast lots for you here before the Lord our God. 18:7. But the Levites have no portion among you, for the priesthood of the Lord is their inheritance. Gad and Reuben and half the tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance east of the Jordan, which Moses the servant of the Lord gave them. 18:8. So the men arose and went, and Joshua charged them, saying, Go and walk through the land, and describe it, and come again to me, and I will cast lots for you here before the Lord in Shilon. So we have seen the tribe of Levi mentioned before. They are the tribe that the Lord purchased from the descendants of Israel. He took possession of them, they became his tribe, and they were to look after the holy things. So they already had their inheritance. So now we have the 3 scouts from each of the tribes being sent out to map out the territory. And then once they're done mapping it out, the Lord is going to divide it up using the lot system. The book of Joshua 18:9. And the men went and passed through the land and described it by cities in 7 portions in a book. And they came again to Joshua at the camp at Shilon. 18:10. Joshua cast lots for them in Shilon before the Lord, and there he divided the land to the Israelites, to each tribe his portion. So the Israelites went out, they sent out the scouts, and the scouts scouted out the land. They wrote everything down in books, or they drew a map or whatever it was, and they brought that back to Joshua, and then the lot drawing began. So the land was divided by lots. And we're going to see all the individual tribes here, not in this particular chapter, but how the land is divided. The book of Joshua 18:11. And the lot of the Benjamites came up according to their families, and the territory of their lot fell between the tribes of Judah and Joseph. 18:12. On the north side, their boundary began at the Jordan. Then it went up to the shoulder of Jericho on the north and went up through the hill country westward and ended at Beth Aven wilderness. 18:13. Then the boundary passed over southward toward Luz to the shoulder of Luz, that is Bethel. Then it went down to Ataroth Adar by the mountain that lies south of lower Beth Horon. 18:14. The boundary extended from there, and turning about on the western side, southward from the mountain that lies to the south, opposite Beth Horon, it ended at Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, a city of the tribe of Judah. This formed the western side of Benjamin's territory. 18:15. The southern side began at the edge of Kiriath Jearim, and the boundary went on westward to the spring of the waters of Nephtoah. 18:16. Then the boundary went down to the edge of the mountain overlooking the valley of Ben Hinnom, son of Hinnom, which is at the north end of the valley of Raphaim, and it descended to the valley of Hinnom, south of the shoulder of the Jebusites, and went on down to En Rogel. 18:17. Then it bent toward the north and went on to En Shemesh and on to Gelioth, which was opposite the ascent of Adumim, and went down to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. 18:18. And it went on to the north of the shoulder of Beth Arabah and down to the Arabah. 18:19. Then the boundary passed along to the north of the shoulder of Beth Hoglah and ended at the northern bay of the salt Dead Sea, at the south end of the Jordan. This was the southern border. 1820, and the Jordan was its boundary on the east side. This was the inheritance of the sons of Benjamin by their boundaries, round about according to their families. So here we have the territory of the Benjamites. The lot was drawn, and this was the territory that they received. To get a better image of this, there are maps that demonstrate what Israel looked like at the end of the book of Joshua. And you can see where all these different spots are located. I would think that most of us are not aware enough or cognizant enough of a lot of these different cities or town names to be able to mentally draw a picture of these things and to truly visualize this. So I'm not going to stress that to any significant degree, but this was very relevant and significant at the time, and it sets a historical geography as to which tribe is to have possession of which land. Now, it's my understanding that the tribes of Israel now, the Israelites generally do not know which tribe they are from. So if they were somehow to regain possession of the land, they would have a very difficult time determining where their historic roots would be as far as the land possession goes. But this was necessary up until the point of the birth of the Messiah, for he had to be from a particular tribe. This chapter and the chapters like this are ones that give us more background information into the land of Israel, the different tribes, and give us a better perspective on the different stories that come or follow after this. So now we are going to look at some of the cities, the book of Joshua. 1821. Now the cities of the tribe of Benjamin, according to their families, were Jericho, Beth Hoglah, Amek Zezi. 1822. Beth Araba, Zemaramim, Bethel. 1823. Avim, Pera, Opera. 1824. Shefar, Ammoni, Hobni, and Geba. 12 cities with their villages. 1825. Gibeon, Ramah, Beeroth. 1826. Mizpah, Chephira, Moza. 1827. Rekum, Arpil, Tarala. 1828. Zillah, Halef, the Jebusite city, that is Jerusalem, Gebeh, and Kiriath Jearim. 14 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of Benjamin according to their families. So we have a list of different cities here. Some of them we have seen previously, such as Jericho. I think there was others that we saw previously as well when the Israelites were doing battle and conquering the land. And we're going to see them show up again down the road. And I think when we look at different cities, we'll be able to use this as a reference to look up in whose land the possession of that city was. So there is definitely a benefit to knowing some of these details in the book of Joshua, but it is what it is. And we are done this chapter.